Incoming transmission.
GSL Season 2.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Season 2 GSL Finals here. And what has been an amazing season so far. It's going to be an excellent night of games.
Oh, yeah. Season 2 has culminated in a top crop of players here. In the round of 4, we have a PBZ and a TVT between the 4 best players in Korea. I'm really excited, man. We're back here at the offline finals. We're in the studio in Samsung. We have a live audience once again.
Yes.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's cool to see you guys here that are with us live in the studio right now. Most of this has been obviously done kind of in a more private broadcast space, so I like the feel of a live audience here with us. And our Final Four is looking very, very similar to Season 1 of this year.
Yeah, only Shin being the odd one out, as it's going to be herO versus Rogue to start things out, and then Maru versus Cure in the second semifinals, as we were playing both semifinals and the final match of GSL Season 2 today. And it's going to be a really good one. We only have that one TVT mirror, and besides that, could be a TVP or a TVZ finals. And all 4 of these players have very interesting storylines coming into the playoffs. I mean, Rogue, he's returning the championship form. herO, he's trying to repeat the GSL Code S victory he had just last season a couple of weeks ago. And Maru versus Cure, these are 2 Terrans who have been constantly vying for the #1 spot in Korea for, it feels like, a decade now. And Maru's almost always had the upper hand, but Cure, he's looking stronger than ever.
Cure is looking really good. You're totally right. Cure's been playing like second fiddle, so to speak, here next to Maru, who's basically always outshined him and every other Terran in the region. So it's going to be a pretty contentious TVT there. We'll see if it's business as usual with Maru actually advancing, or maybe Cure causes an upset and actually takes it. I do think this is the best iteration of Cure we've ever seen going into the year 2026.
Yeah, and considering Cure's performances at previous EWCs and other GSLs, obviously, to say that, it means a lot. But honestly, I believe it's deserved. Anyway, this is the subscription information. If you want to support the GSL, you can do so at SOOPlive.com/AFGSL, GSL English, or also go to the patreon.com/GSL. Whichever works for you. There are a couple of different tiers available. Just do whatever makes sense. We appreciate your support.
This is a community-funded tournament now, so see what makes sense for you. We'd love to earn your support. And, yeah, you know, it's been good to be back here doing this. This is basically the oldest still standing esports league. You know, all the way back to the early days, all the way up to now. It's still here, which is crazy.
It's been 16, 17 years.
17 years. I think almost 18 now,
I remember
which is wild.
I had just graduated high school and I was watching you and Dan cast the GSL Code S in 2010.
He said, one day I'll be in my 30s and I'll be doing this, and I'll take that analyst job. You can see where our amount donation is at right now. 8,420, not bad. We'll see if we end up kind of filling the meter up all the way to the 10K. For a GSL Season 3 kickoff.
Yeah, but in any case, the support from you guys has been truly incredible. We thank you sincerely. It's been awesome. And I know that, you know, so much of StarCraft 2 these days, whether it be online tournaments or offline tournaments, so much of it comes down to the community kind of doing a grassroots fundraising effort to make things viable with the less publisher support that we have. So to everybody who has been joining us, especially the Code S Plus supporters, a big thank you.
Yes, the Code S Plus here. I guess we have, some privacy, but not totally for their IDs?
It's like a fun little guessing game,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's definitely Ghost Mech.
Yeah.
100% that is Ghost Mech. What else do we have
Could be
here?
Ghost merch. I mean, we don't know.
Stargoner? Stargoner's probably right. I don't think we're missing any other pals in that one. And the G5L champion, this is the #1 supporter here, Zuren Shen for Patreon. Thank you guys so much, sincerely.
Yeah, appreciate you guys, especially the whales here, the top supporters. Thank you guys so very much. It's been an amazing 2 seasons of GSL so far. I think we're going to end on a high note here. By the way, I'll probably mention this again when we get into the games, but this could be the last big StarCraft tournament with these current amount of workers.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of the people watching right now, especially the live viewers, are familiar how we might be going from a 12-worker start to an 8-worker start. They have been testing that on the PTR branch of the StarCraft 2 client. Might be the end of an era here in GSL. We'll see if that change is actually going to go through.
Yeah, this is, I guess we got an event going on here in the studio. It says the casters will handpick the wittiest cheer sign among the on-site fans and will gift a prize. I don't know if that's us, though. I wasn't told about that, but if I got to pick
cool,
signs,
though.
I will.
Oh, I definitely can pick the wittiest cheer
jury
sign. Yeah. I feel like we already do this to some extent in every single broadcast of the live audience.
I'm picking them every show I've ever been part of.
Yeah, that's cool.
Again, great to have you guys down here in the studio. It's always nice filling the space up here at Samsung. You know, GSL started in Mokdong, a tiny little studio inside of, I think, a middle school.
Is that really like an auditorium of a middle school?
It was like a place they would train. I think it might have been some high schoolers too, but they would train kids in how to use like camera equipment. It was really tiny, really small.
Oh, that's cool.
And
I had no idea.
And then the studio would use it in the evenings. It was some deal they had worked out, right? And then it just blew up, right? And now we're in like the most expensive part of Seoul, basically, here in this huge studio. And now it's owned by SOOP. There's several esports studios owned by them all over the city, but it's crazy to see how far we've come with all that.
Yeah, I think this is the only GSL studio I've ever been to. Is the one here in Samsung.
Yeah. It's well, you've been to the one in Digital Media City.
I suppose so. Yeah, that was quite a long time ago.
Back, Jamshil. As well. But anyways, guys, here's what the Season 2 looked like. You can see what happened in the round of 8 in Group A and Group B. Kind of sad we didn't get Clem to advance. I don't know what it is about our tournament, but we just do not get foreigners like in the Final Four, ever. Like, not since Jinro, I think. So.
I really thought the floodgates would open now, with GSL being kind of a hybrid format where the group stages are played online and the semifinals and the finals are played offline. I thought we would have a ton of non-Korean players participating, since you can play from anywhere in the world in the GSL up until the offline finals. And Clem tried his luck. He made it into the round of 8, was not able to make it to the round of 4. If we have this same format going into potentially future GSL seasons, I would love to see more foreigner representation, though, because it feels like at some point we've got to have somebody in the top 4. We've got to have a foreigner champion. It's kind of crazy that it's never happened.
I mean, dude, until it happens, all I can do is repeat what's already, occurred before, is that we've never had one. I would have told you with 100% certainty if you told me how long GSL would last and had me guess how many foreign champions there were if I could know all the seasons. I would have guessed way, way, way more. Way, way, way more than 0, which is what we have right now. But anyways, this is going to be another season of Korean will come out and dominate. I don't know. I'm excited to get these matches started.
Yeah, it's going to be herO versus Rogue to kick things off in the first best of 5 as the players are getting ready. And I think this is going to be a really fun one. herO, in my opinion, he's probably the best player in the world right now. It's either him or SOOP, though I haven't been seeing too much of SOOP recently. herO's been grinding like every single tournament. Anyway, let's go hear what they have to say.
Alright, let's talk with herO first, the defending champion. Greetings. Well, you're the first one coming, like last season, always coming first and having a practice. So how do you feel? Well, I'm feeling really great right now. My form is really on top, like very sharp. So yeah, if I don't get nervous, then I'll be fine. Well, you have took yourself that the last game has actually helped you boost your win rate 20%. So how do you feel? Yeah, I'm very confident. Like last game's helped me a lot. So yeah, you're facing Rogue, one of the greatest Zerg. So how do you feel about him? Yeah, I wouldn't really get nervous about like anyone else, but it's Rogue. one of the greatest players. So yeah, I'm feeling a little nervous here. Yeah, you actually. Then now we're gonna hear talk with Rogue. Yeah, you actually lost to herO in the round of 8 last season, so you got knocked out there. So how do you gonna face him this season? What's gonna be the difference? Well, in practices, he's so scary, but in tournaments, I think I perform better than him. So yeah, I think I have a standing chance here. So he has a stage fright, that means. Yeah, I think so. Well, you have a lot of tournament wins on both online and offline, herO, but you still have a losing record against Rogue. So Rogue, the question is actually for you. So are you confident against facing herO? Well, actually in practices, it felt kind of very scary, but it was in practices. So I think in tournaments, I think I'll feel definitely better against him. So let's check about the predictions for our viewers. Well, 80 versus 20 towards herO. Well, Rogue, you look a little shaken. How do you feel? Well, you know, it's just a number. It's just a number, you know? The odds are actually forming. So, any last words, Rogue? Thank you for coming in this weekend to see the games, and I'll show you great games here. And you, herO? Yeah, thank you all the fans coming here and watching. And this time, I'll definitely crush him. All right, good luck.
Thank you, Maddox. Excellent work. Excellent work as always. I'm so excited to start this match off here. herO, as you were saying, State, is like in some of the best shape ever. Like, he might be the best in the whole world. He's looking so scary. Basically winning everything, you know, this year, looking untouchable. Really on an absolute roll here. It would not be crazy to see him defeat Rogue. Rogue looks really good, and he definitely knows how to win. He knows how to beat pretty much anybody. One thing about Rogue it's always been true, but it's especially true now, is he can kind of play any style. It's very hard to predict what he's going to do. The only predictable thing is that he's going to show a lot of different types of unit comps, build orders, ideas. You know, he can be very cheesy, he can be very passive and macro-y and swarmy. So herO's going to have to be ready for any kind of ZVP game that Rogue can give.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how both of them play sort of that same style. herO is very in your face. He puts the pressure on. He tries to force mistakes out of his opponents, and he tries to kind of turn games on their head and put the opponent and himself in positions where players usually don't find themselves. And then you kind of have to find, okay, well, how am I going to solve this new clever problem that herO is presenting me? Rogue has been doing the same thing in the RSL and the GSL and other online tournaments. Rogue is kind of coming into every individual matchup with a very different outlook on the game from other Zergs, and he's been doing it in a particularly aggressive manner that I'm not sure who this favors stylistically going into a best of 5.
It might be shorter than a lot of our ZVPs have been in the current meta. It might be something where the games really become very explosive. You know, herO's very active. He likes pressure play a lot. He's much more kind of a player that pushes and harasses in a PvZ. We have a lot of other players in PvZ that are much more passive, and they might even go very slowly. Like Zhao maybe is a better example. This might go, you know, from full ground tech into air tech and kind of run the clock and kind of forces the Zerg to dry up on their side of the map. I don't think we're going to have those kind of games here now, but again, like I said, Rogue could try anything. I mean, he really seems to be able to do the full gamut of everything that Zerg is capable of.
Now, as we take a look at the map list here for the first semifinal of 2026 GSL Season 2, we're going to be starting off on Old Republic as both players are getting ready. And should we go on to a set 4 and set 5, it will be played on Celestial Enclave and Ruby Rock, as our map is getting ready to load in herO versus Rogue to kick off the offline finals here in Season 2 of 2026. Who is going to take the first map of the night? We're about to find out. The map is loading in. Let's get to this. Any day.
Any second now. Let's start. Had to wait for the graphic to decide. herO versus Rogue. Starting now here. Top right, herO. Bottom left is Rogue. And again, the winner of this is going to go on to the finals of Season 2 here.
I'm so excited for this best of 5. These two have maybe my favorite play styles of anybody to watch for their respective races.
I've honestly really been enjoying casting Rogue's games this year. Like, he's just looking, because, you know, sometimes you get these guys that are really good and they come back, and not that they're bad, but, you know, they're not in the same kind of condition as before. And you're always, I think, especially for me as an older gamer, I'm always kind of rooting for the guys that are getting older. But, you know, Rogue looks really scary and really good here. Also, one thing about Rogue is, you know, he's been a guy who's, for a while, been winning everything. I mean, you know, people tease Artosis a lot for his whole take on Rogue being the GOAT, but, like, he was one of the greatest players for sure. And in some years, he was the best, right? So he's definitely somebody that should be able to kind of get that, get back to that condition again if he's given enough time.
Unique opening here for herO to start things off on Old Republic, going for a gasless gateway expand here. Almost looks like one of the PTR games that you might see if you've been following the PTR action. And this is basically as greedy as it can get besides going for a gas first play with Pronos, because herO is also doing this on the back of No Scout. So if you're going to go for a gateway into a Nexus, this is the most economic variant that you can do. And kind of similar to going CC first in a Terran versus Zerg, I wonder if this is going to build up to a timing attack here for herO in the mid game, because sometimes when you accelerate the economy in the early game, it culminates in a much more sharp and powerful timing in the mid game.
And a lot of these Zergs that are very good at that balancing act of a normal timing attack might get thrown off, right? They might not have the right number of Zerglings or might not have the queens in the right position, and then suddenly, let's say it's Adepts, for example, if it's going to be an early timing attack, that's usually something good to bet on. Yeah, maybe that will actually do an extra amount of damage.
Circling speed getting started here for Rogue. Should be finishing right around 3:30. And herO still going into the Stargate behind this. It's not as fast as you would typically expect a Stargate to be off of a Nexus, but given the economic greed from herO, he also needs to get less damage done with the first Oracle, just because the probe differential, it's going to be much more in herO's favor heading here into the early stages of the game.
Okay, so for now, we wait. We're going to see the Adept come out here. He'll confirm the presence of the third base. Probably going to be Oracles, you know, into that inevitable Twilight. If it's not some kind of an Adept timing attack, it'll probably be into Stalkers, which herO, you know, with his Stalker Blink style, I mean, he basically kind of mapped out this whole approach to the matchup that's been so incredibly strong. Great control by Rogue, by the way, not even losing Lings in this moment.
Yeah, pulling back 3 low HP Lings, not allowing herO to two-shot them with the Adept. And wow, herO behind this, throwing down a wickedly fast third Nexus before the second gateway, before the first Oracle is done.
Yeah, you can see that the Overlord over on the side is checking for the 2 gases. And we don't have any of the 2 gases over at the natural being taken, but already with a quick third Nexus. I mean, is there even an Adept over there to cover that? Yeah, I think there's one just kind of wedged in between the mineral and the pylon.
And just the one early Adept that was scouting, and one more to plug up the wall here at the natural expansion. And where is herO going to go from this? Because he is going for the Twilight Council. I'm curious when the Forge timing is going to be. Honestly, if herO were to go for something like a Forge-less timing attack with Blinkstalkers, which he isn't, we now see the Forge, I do think that could get a lot of damage done. You know, how fast this third base is coming online is going to be really crazy. herO will have a lot more minerals than the Protoss typically would in the mid-game. I wonder how aggressive he'll be with this. Usually you'll see players go up into something like 6 gateways in Storm if they want to play more of a passive game, but herO, if there's one thing I know about herO, it's that he loves to attack. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot more gateways than that get thrown down.
Okay, so we have The Oracle just gliding through here, seeing that 4th base. We see the charge is being upgraded as well. And that is a very juicy target. This does feel like a map where all these bases after the first 3 are a lot more attackable, right? I mean, some maps you can kind of just like hug an entire corner and got up to even 4 or 5 bases, but this one doesn't seem like it's one of them. So, yeah, I would not be surprised if we start to see the Protoss come out swinging.
Yeah, that's not what's happening, though, with herO. I'm kind of in the same boat where I'm just expecting him to eventually turn up the gear and get ready for some aggression, but he's already going for a Templar Archives. He's adding in a Photon Cannon and a Shield Battery at the 3rd base. He's trying to make sure that he's in the best economic position possible. And he's doing that by even having these Adepts parked over here to deny the drone from throwing down an additional hatchery here for Rogue. Rogue, with these Zerglings, can now clean this up, but even at 5 minutes and 30 seconds of this game, it is 63 workers for herO to the 53 of Rogue, because herO just continuously expands his economic engine so aggressively. Are we going to see a 4th base behind this here for herO? I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know, one thing herO does like to do is occasionally push out while taking that 4th. He's going up to 5 gateways, so this is feeling more and more like it's going to be some pressure. You know, that 4th base is pretty fresh. We're still populating that with drones, or Rogue is, rather. Actually gonna be able to snipe. No? Okay. Gotta stop trying to preemptively play-by-play these moments.
Yeah, I think herO just wants to prioritize having energy, and oh my goodness, Rogue hiding a Spire in the bottom right corner of the map. Now, if herO decides to go for some kind of really aggressive timing, this could be dangerous for Rogue. But as it is right now, herO, he seems like he's content to button up on these 3 bases. He has 67 probes, so full 3-base saturation setup here for Protoss. And herO is bracing for impact. He's adding in so much static defense, not just at the 3rd base, but also here at the natural expansion.
Okay, he's got to be careful. He's going to see the Hydra Den over here, but again, you know, if you don't see the Spire in this corner, you're going to have a very bad read on what exactly is going on here. Now, there's going to be a moment where there's going to be a lot of mutas in this game, and that's going to be the time where Rogue really has to take advantage of this. Once you see it, you know, then you get to start to try to respond and be ready for it. But yeah, this is going to probably blindside herO pretty badly. I mean, he's got 1 Archon, he's got basically nothing but Templars, because he's imagining a game where it's going to be all these Hydralisks he has to storm, right?
herO's army is almost purely anti-ground. There is 1 Stalker somewhere. It's not with this army here in the front. There's an Archon to do splash damage to the air, and there are Templar for storms, but 10 mutas are about to pop. None of them finishing here at the 4th base, though. The Zealots get on top of that hatchery. They should be able to take it out. Storm's getting good damage done on those Lings, even as they retreat away.
Now, he's going to get that hatchery, most likely. So when the mutas are out, he's going to storm these mutas. This is where you basically have to just burn out your storms and probably throw down an Archon of your own, yeah, and try to morph these. You know, the crazy thing is that did enough damage, he can actually take this out. The Archons are still going to finish, so maybe he can actually still win this fight, which is crazy to think.
Yeah, this Storm's got so much damage done on those Mutalisks that now Ro kind of needs to run away with the Mutas, away from these 2 Archons, and with more Zealots reinforcing, herO might just be toppling this position.
This is insane. Yeah, it's funny. It's like, that's so funny. You never see the strategy work, like, as in, like, he got to set up what he wanted to do, and then the interaction fails. I feel like I almost never see games like that. So, I mean, look, he did trick him, but the Storm spamming was good enough that by the end, the Mutalisks were squishy enough that when the last Archon was dead, first of all, the other Templars were not sniped. That's really important. The Templars were all allowed to morph into more Archons, and by then, he ended up with a push where he had more Archons than what he started with. So, I mean, that's a pretty embarrassing defeat from Rogue. Again, it's weird because, like, I think we all understand the idea, right? Like, he thinks he's fighting a different unit comp, but the control alone, and honestly, the muta count not being insanely high either, kind of cost Rogue that game, and now we're moving immediately into game number 2.
Yeah, really a wild start there to game number 1. herO with the economic greed going unpunished. Being able to convert a timing attack that on paper looked like should be stopped in its tracks versus those mutas. I mean, you expect to lose the 4th hatchery, but not the game there. As map number 2 is loading in, we're going to Tyto Citadel to continue on this series. Will herO go up 2-0, or will Rogue fight back?
Okay, our best of 5 continues on here. herO in the top left and Rogue in the bottom right. We kind of knew Rogue was going to mix it up a little bit, like that was to be expected, but again, just shocking results. And a pretty painful loss there for him, especially when you're like your whole build kind of, you feel like you pulled it off. To then lose in the final battle is pretty devastating.
It was interesting the way that played out at the very end, because there's one Archon with the army. Besides that, it was like 6 or 7 Templar in total, I think.
Yeah,
maybe
I think it was
8 Templar.
7. Yeah.
And you would think that 10 mutas coming in, there's no way the Storms are going to connect and get that much damage done on them. But the Storms actually whittled them down to about half HP. You know, the mutas were very badly injured. And on top of that, as you pointed out, I'm not sure they succeeded in sniping any of the Templar.
Right.
So herO being able to transform
From
all
Brazil,
of those.
welcome.
It's great to have live audience here again for the GSL Finals. Welcome, everybody. But just for herO to be able to turn all of those Templar directly into Archons, you're always expecting to lose the 4th hatchery versus a pressure attack like that one. I mean, it was such a heavy commitment there from herO with all of the charge zealots, all the Templar just pushing in as kind of a battering ram towards that 4th hatchery. But the fact that the mutas took so much damage they couldn't even deal with the anti-air in that army it's still baffling me.
So this is going to be a displaced second base. Probe is basically interfering with base setups here. And I'm not sure what exactly, you know, herO wants to do here. I mean, herO didn't do anything too special, to be honest. I mean, he basically played a macro game and did a, you know, a pretty standard push. You know, basically tried to get a read, actually got the completely wrong read on what was going on, and still won with the push. Pretty straightforward here. You know, there's no other Zergs in the tournament. That's important to remember here as well. So whatever's occurring in this matchup, and this is true for both of these players, actually. There's no other Protosses in the tournament either here. So, I mean, you know, there's no championship concept like I'm going to pocket my other really good builds for the finals, right?
Yeah, we don't even know how many more games are going to be played with 12 workers in StarCraft 2.
Yeah,
so
I
if
mean,
you got some builds, it's time to bust them out now. We kind of got a little bit of a taste of that with one of the games that Maru played earlier on in the GSL, where he proxied the factory and proxied the starport and floated them back up into the main base in a TVP to just completely fool the Protoss player. I think that might have been Zaun. I'm struggling to remember who it was. Yeah, you have these builds that players have been thinking of for a very long time finally get deployed. We'll see if we have any more really crafty openings from these guys.
Yeah, I'm excited personally about the worker change, but I'm also suddenly kind of nostalgic about the fact that this might be the last game I guess you and I might be casting. It's got that worker count the way it is.
Ooh, good control by Rogue once again.
Yeah, pretty perfect. Did cause at least a little bit of interrupting back there. Back at home. Second gateway coming down now. So we're going to get more oracles into the game.
No third base here for herO just yet, so it's not quite the unhinged greed that he got away with in game number 1 here in game number 2. A much more conservative macro development here for Protoss. And he's just keeping tabs on Rogue right now with these depth shades in, although he might commit seeing only 3 links, excuse me, with speed. Decides against it. Perhaps instead going to pair up here with his Oracle. There is a Spore Crawler in position.
Yeah, he can basically abuse his position in between the creep and be a bit of a menace. And the Lings have a hard time really surrounding and hitting the Adepts. He's going to get one away.
Wow.
Okay, I mean, Rogue is so fast. I don't know that he's going to get drone kills here.
It's one.
Yeah, nicely
That's
done.
it.
Still keeps the other Oracle alive. He did drop 2 Adepts for that, but he killed like 9 Lings in a drone. I mean, that's pretty good.
herO's so good with the initial Adept move out, just pairing them with Oracles and getting damage done like that.
He's got superb control at kind of mixing up the movements and being hard to nail down.
More Adepts behind this here for Rogue, so it wasn't just those initial 2 Adepts and 1 back at home, a couple more being warped in defensively here to help secure the third base. As herO is expanding to the Triangle expansion, adding in the Twilight Council and Forge, very similar to the way he did in game number 1. So mostly standard development here for herO. We'll see if he's going to opt for Charge again here in game number 2 or go for the more standard Blink opening.
We meet our
Okay.
fate.
Queens zoning out the Oracles for now. And the 4th base coming along here for Zerg. I think this is a more holdable 4-base position here. I mean, it's really tempting to try to overwhelm the Zerg on 4 bases on that previous map just due to the shape. This one feels a little bit safer.
Actually, a little bit surprised that here didn't try and get a snipe on that hatchery here with the Oracles, as it was pretty low on HP and there isn't creep connecting the natural expansion with the 4th base. But herO, he's been pretty conservative already in game number 1 and in game number 2 with Oracle Energy. Instead deciding to pocket that, not worth going for the cancel.
Nice block here with the warp in. Even gonna trap a couple Lings in there. Now, back at home for Protoss, we're getting the Templar Archives, we're getting Blink with the Forge here. So both sides are gonna continue to power up. I'm more interested in looking at this game from Rogue's perspective and seeing what exactly he wants to do. Like, does he have a more straightforward approach? Because that was, a pretty big sleight of hand he did back there. Even though he was like, is this your card? And he was like, no. And he was like, oh, my magic trick didn't work, okay. But yeah, let's see what his approach is going to be this time around.
Yeah, I wonder how different it will be from game number 1.
Even if it worked in game 1, he wouldn't do that again. So he's going to go for Hydra Baneling and probably go for it to try to burst down the 4th. You know, if this game's going to be similar to what we had in the previous game, maybe Protoss is going to try to get up onto a 4th right before they push, and you're going to come in there and kind of deplete all the defenses for that. Nice job here with the Spore, just basically blasting this down.
Picking up a couple of drone kills right there as herO. Could have gone for that Queen in the main base, but instead thinking better of it, playing safe, and actually will be another Spire here, this time hidden right by the 6 o'clock expansion. So we'll see how many mutas Rogue is actually going to commit to.
Well, wouldn't it be funny if this game like literally ended the exact same way and the mutas still didn't work? I mean,
there is a difference in that we have a Baneling Nest out now. A couple of Hydras are being made. I think, oh, hold that thought actually, is the Lings. They might try to break down this Adept and get into the wall in.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to get away with that.
Yeah, herO's not going to, or herO's going to be able to defend it, but you know, Rogue, even if he did decide to try and play basically the same style as he did in game number 1, which it might be the way this goes right now with Rogue making up enough for 7 or 8 mutas in just a couple of minutes, herO doesn't have quite the same economic pace to his development this time.
Well,
so
he's going to push. He's coming out right now. There's a Ling counter attack happening over here. But again, I think the battery and the whatever's over there is going to be enough to hold that. He's going to be hitting as the Banelings are starting to morph. So this is pretty important because this means there's going to be a lot of time for stuff to be killed up. Hold on, I stand corrected. There are some Banelings out.
Oh, Banelings get on top of the Templar. They have to morph into an Archon. Only one Templar remaining with enough energy to storm. No more storms remaining with this army. It is just gateway units and one Archon here. Rogue able to repel the attack at his 4th base.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate how many Banes were actually ready. I just saw a bunch that had started to morph, but there were plenty more that came in there. The gold base is under the control of Rogue right now. Lings and Banes are going to come through here. Sets off the Stasis Ward, but that's not going to protect the Templar. Does he know about the gold? I don't think he's actually seen it.
At some point, if he parks his army over here, he should catch wind that there are units reinforcing from the southwestern side, but herO just does not have the idea yet. He is sending the Stalkers down now. I think the creep is making him suspicious, so herO going to scout and will likely confirm that there's a gold base here in the bottom left. The problem is I'm not sure he can do very much about it. Rogue has such a strong force over here on the bottom left side. herO's going to poke in, and even with the assistance of these Oracles and the Zealots, will it be enough?
Yeah, so he's going to keep pushing in here. This is a really rough moment when you realize they've already got the gold base. You're probably not going to be able to come in here and bust this. He's going to have to try to use really good storms here to basically just burn down the HP of those Banes. The Hydras are going to come forward here. The Hydras alone might be able to just fight this, to be honest. Banes coming in here from behind. More Warpins leading down. It just doesn't quite feel like herO has enough.
We're going to be going for another surround right now. Storm is going to try to zone away the Hydras on the south side. Stasis Trap catches a lot of Lings, but Banelings rolling in. Are they able to get the connections on the Templar? They are! Templar gets sniped. No more Storms dropped here. I think the Zealots might be enough to push the Hydras back for now, but with the reinforcements coming in here for Rogue, herO, he's going to think better of it. He's going to slow this down a little bit, try and catch these Lings as they come out of stasis, and then go in again.
Yeah, he's going to keep trying to push down here. Now, remember, I mean, the Zerg, you got to watch their gas, see how much they have for more Banelings here. And the Zerg's sitting on a lot of gas over here, which means a lot more potential Banes. But I don't see enough Banes. Well, hold on. He has a couple more that are, oh no, sorry, those are Lurkers actually hatching down there. Yeah, he's not going to break this. It's funny because Protoss was close. They were pretty close to coming in there and breaking that. Now, there's going to be some more Templars coming up here. He is at least killing off a couple drones here and there. This tug of war has gone on for a long time, by the way, much longer than I thought would be possible, given the circumstances of this game. He's going to actually hit here from behind. And again, you know, the Zealots, they don't really have any way to deal with those Banes. He's going to go for the mothership now. Now, I think we're going to get a 5th base here at 12. Looks like there's a probe up there.
Here preparing to take that 5th expansion. Mothership about a third of the way done. As the game's quieted down a little bit, the Lurkers have really pumped the brakes here for herO. It's hard to find an angle of attack, although with these 2 Lurkers unprotected down by the gold side, herO might just try and jump on this position.
No War Prism the whole time. You know, he's just been kind of rallying stuff down here. Nice storms here on the Lurkers. Actually going to take out 2. Oh my God, he kind of just came in at such a weird angle and ended up fracturing the defensive position here. He's going to wipe the base and somehow get out. This is almost like a bank robbery or something like that. Like he had a getaway car to get actually out of that situation. He basically moved through. Everything was repositioning. He got great hits on the Lurkers. The reality, too, is that Rogue was actually bleeding units the whole time. So it's 193, a maxed out Protoss, to 149. Supply here for the Zerg. Now, there's a ton of Lurkers. I don't know that this could be broken no matter what, but a lot of times what you do is you basically go to different locations on the map and try to hit wherever the Lurkers are not.
Yeah, as long as herO is able to continuously outposition Rogue, this shouldn't be a problem right now as we have a 4, soon to be 5 base Protoss against a 4 base Zerg. 2 more Stargates are nearing completion as the Eratos transition is coming through here for herO, and that's going to be a hard problem for Rogue to solve with such a lurker-based composition. And herO right now just needs to play whack-a-mole, just trying to take out any extra bases that Rogue goes for on the flanking side. The Baneling connection is there, though. A lapse in attention from herO. Doesn't see Rogue actually moving out.
The thing is, with a Tempest, you can basically just push anything, right? And all you got to do is take out these other bases on the map and keep Zerg on 4 base. There's been no real counterattacking. I guess we had some Lings earlier at the start of this game, but I'm not really counting that. I mean, like, no real attempts to run Lurkers or Hydras to the other side of the map. And, you know, right now Zerg's trying to grow on these different parts of the map, and you know, herO's kind of, oh, well, as I said, we didn't have any counterattacks. Here's that moment for that to actually happen. This is much needed, maybe a little bit too late. Oh my God, he did not tag that in time.
Oracle's only just now arriving. Baneling's going to see if they can get some probe damage done here, but herO just running through a maze. I really thought a lot more workers would be taken out at that location, but instead, Rogue just going to focus instead on taking out this expansion over here at the 9 o'clock. Some economic damage done to herO, but honestly, the way these army compositions are shaking out, I'm very concerned for Rogue's position. That was a great counterpunch that he was able to get in. But it'll be tough for Rogue to get enough anti-air to actually deal with 3 Stargates worth of Tempest production.
I mean, the problem for Rogue is, like, he can't be killed, but I don't know that he can win in this position either, right? The Lurkers can kind of reposition and reconfigure themselves defensively to barricade attacks off. But, you know, the bases on the outside can get poked out. And, of course, with the Tempest here, as long as they're controlled correctly, there isn't a real answer from the Zerg right now. I mean, we see the Vipers are going to come. They're not quite here yet. He can basically snipe from a distance the Hydras. When the Hydras move in, you then send a Storm in and melt the Hydras, and suddenly you basically have a little push. The Zealots can be fractured off into positions like this to take out the gold. And it just seems like we're seeing Rogue weaken over time.
And the Tempest just pairing beautifully right now with the Templar here. You see the moment that Rogue gets too close with the Hydras, the Storms come down, the Tempest back up, and everything is fine here for herO because there's no abducts, there's no energy on any of these Vipers. They only just now hatched. trying to consume that hatchery as Ro goes for a counterattack now at herO's other side of the map.
Can't go there. That many lurkers is not going to let you get anything done.
Honestly, the oracles alone might be enough to clean that up, although herO, he is pulling back a lot of the army. Try and clear this position.
Now, herO doesn't have a lot of mining bases, by the way. He has one. He's taken another one over here in the center left at 9 o'clock. Rogue just sent drones to that base over on the opposite side at 3. I don't think that Rogue has to lose this yet. You know, right now both sides are so low on resources that it might come down to the next fight or two. This base is clearly well enough defended. Looks like he's going to try to go for drones and just get what he can. It's crazy to think of how many minerals this is in Zealots, but you do kill 11 drones with it. And I guess in a game like this, you'll take that.
Yeah, expensive trade there for herO, but the thing is, he can afford to do this. He's remaxing now on Immortals and War Tempest, so the army composition for herO is going to be getting a lot stronger as we move forward.
You can see he's making 7 cannons at this base. He wants to have them all spaced out in a way where like it's hard for Banelings to connect onto all of them, and hopefully, you know, if you counterattack without enough, that army size is not going to be spongy enough to actually take the damage and take the fight too. So you might end up hemorrhaging stuff. And again, we got a really scary push. So, you know, it'll be 2 things. Is the counterattack on the 9 o'clock base strong enough to make a difference? Oh, I love this lurker over here. And then also, is this inevitable push from the Protoss going to be enough to poke out the base on the opposite side of the map at 3? Because he's got, I think, 6 Tempests here.
Yeah, it's only 15 Hydras right now for Rogue, paired with 1 Viper. So the anti-air is still severely lacking for Zerg, especially as the Tempest production continues to ramp up, plus 2 air weapons and shield level 3 going to be finishing for herO in just a moment.
Yeah, he's going to come down now. And he's basically shooing away these little counterattack forces. I think we're going to see him bob over to here. This is where he probably needs to hit. And by the way, each side around the same amount of minerals in the bank. Rogue, a little bit more gas now. We just saw some extra gas get spent there from herO. He was close to even with him. And it's going to be all about Oracle tagging. It's going to be all about Tempest shots. And here comes that counterattack from the Zerg. You can see it on the mini-map. We don't have it on camera yet. Here it is now. But how many cannons are actually there?
It's a ton of cannons to the 9 o'clock base, but I think with the lurkers, Ro can just park on top of this and siege it down. So are we going to have a recall come in for herO, or we go into a base trade as herO seems like he is focused in on at least taking down this expansion and might possibly want more. He's pushing up at the junction between the natural expansion and the 3rd base. That's a lot of lurkers getting splash damage done on these Archons.
Jesus, it's so much lurker damage. I think that herO might have overextended a little bit. He needs to get those Tempests to just take out the remaining. Okay, hold on. This base is going to go down now. The cannons are all gone. The lurkers are, the count is getting lower and lower. There's 22 Hydras in this game, but possibly enough storms and enough of everything else underneath that to fight. 26 probes go down. The counterattacking can continue here. Right now, herO really unable to do much else. I love the position here to hit this base. He's going to come back. You know, I don't know about this for herO. It's going to be a very weird game. He has not taken out that center right base. He did do a lot of damage to the entire bottom. There's a sneaky bottom left base here from Rogue. It's being retaken now with the gold as well.
herO took a lot more economic damage than Rogue in that last trade, but I think in terms of material, in terms of the units that are on the board, it was worthwhile for herO. He was able to really shave down the Hydra count. It's been reset back down to just 16. And with so many Tempest in this army, I'm struggling to see how Rogue's going to be able to deal with this. Now, that's a nice start there for Rogue, getting an Abduct off on one of these Tempest, but with the feedback and the snipe coming in, the anti-air, it's the real issue here for Rogue. And even though Rogue still has this base up on the right-hand side of the map, I'm not sure the income is enough for him to actually be able to build the anti-air that he needs to deal with this Tempest. I mean, the Tempest can just slowly chip away at everything.
I mean, Rogue doesn't have an answer for this. I mean, you're seeing the lurkers slowly get pushed here, eating more and more and more damage. Once the Hydras come in, next comes the Storm to punish. The symbiosis of the units that are here together, it's so hard to deal with. he's going to come in again. As long as herO doesn't overextend, and he's decided this is not a moment that would be an overextension. He says, this is the breaking point. I can push through, and I can win. And that's going to put him up 2-0. And by the way, I think that was a game we should have seen Rogue win if he was going to win a game tonight. So I'm very worried about Rogue right now. herO just seemed to have a very deep understanding of how to play that late game out. By the way, I don't know about you, Sid, I thought he was making mistakes when he was giving up that center left base.
herO was. Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, this feels like a lot to lose. He lost it's just so much, but I guess the reality is the Tempest, you just count up how much damage is done over time.
Especially with those upgrades too. +3 shields, +2 air weapons done for herO. And the Tempest count was never really disrupted by Rogue. He got a couple of abducts in, but not much more than that. And so I think for herO, even though it looks like it's bad, it looks like he's sacrificing his most economic base, the one that's fully saturated, the one with all the minerals, for maybe one of Rogue's least valuable bases that Rogue has been mining from for a very long time. The fact that herO was able to chip away so much of Rogue's army made it worth it. He's able to convert it into a win. And now it is match point already. herO only one map win away from going to the grand finals in the GSL, the second season in a row. Rogue, if he wants to come back, he needs to start a reverse sweep right now.
Man, I'm worried. I just don't know what Rogue's going to do here. That was such a masterclass in late game PvZ from herO. Just kind of coming in from different sides. Also, some of the places he decided to push into I thought was really smart. It wasn't obvious to me that was the right spot to go, but kind of deciding like even these lower value bases that are not going to have as many lurkers there, just push into that. You can break that position. You're going to kill drones. You're going to kill a hatchery, and it's you just take any win you can get. I think sometimes it's easy to focus on like the highest value target, like that's the newest base. If you kill that, they're going to be that much closer to not having any resources, right? But what he's doing is he's saying, yeah, but that base is too well defended.
Oh, that is so cool.
I love that.
I like the SOOP logo.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really just fantastic display of late game understanding there from herO.
One thing herO does better than I think anybody I've ever seen. Oh, from LA, welcome.
Excellent, welcome.
One thing that herO does better than anybody I've ever seen play Protoss and StarCraft 2 is his army movement and positioning and the fights that he decides to take. Like, herO will go for these angles of attack that you don't necessarily expect, and sometimes, occasionally, it'll blow up in his face. It'll be one of those highlightable moments where it's like, oh, this is herO, of course, blinking on top of the siege tanks or charging into lurkers or whatever it is. But it works much more often than it doesn't. And I feel like herO just does not get enough credit for that, these bold moves that he goes for. And the composition that he fights with, too. I mean, we saw him trying to siege down that gold base for the longest period of time. And even when Rogue would get in what looked like a winning engagement, herO would just continuously reinforce, keep trying to re-engage, because herO is confident enough in his control and his decision-making that as long as the battle continues and it's relatively even, he's sure that he's going to be able to get a favorable trade by the end of the engagement. And that happened in the previous game with a trade at the gold. It's happened over the course of this entire GSL season. It's so impressive what herO is able to get done with the same set of units as basically every other Protoss.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's shown just masterful decision-making at that chess game in the late game, moving around. Honestly, when that gold base didn't fall immediately, I thought the game was over. I kind of went, all right, well, Zerg's going to be really out of control now. And herO was still on only 4 bases, but he instead somehow kind of looped around and ended up fracturing the position by wedging himself in between it. Where I think Rogue basically thought it was a counterattack to the opposite side of the map, like somewhere around 3 o'clock. And, sometimes killing lurkers is really about just kind of catching them when they're not burrowed and when they're moving around. Kind of like, the best way to get siege tanks is when they're on the move and they haven't set up a position. Oh, God, he doesn't get that.
Sumer able to burrow. herO scouts the 3rd expansion here for Rogue and immediately throws down one of his own. So herO once more with a pretty rapid economic development in game number 3. Not quite the greed of game number 1, but still just doing this on the back of 2 adepts on 1 gateway here at the natural expansion. It's a nice position for herO to be in. And now I'm just wondering, where does Rogue want to take a game like this? Because in game number 1, Rogue went for the very clever play of hiding a Stubire on the bottom right side of the map, which herO was able to immediately punish in kind of spectacular fashion with a mostly charge lock Templar timing attack. And then in game number 2, it had kind of the bones of a win for Rogue, you would think.
Yeah, no.
The way that he was able to expand rapidly across the map, secure the gold base, tech into lurkers very quickly. Things seemed to be going well for Rogue, but herO was still just able to finesse a couple of highly valuable moves that brought it back into the game and eventually converted it into a win. And so here in game number 3, what kind of approach are you going to come into this one with as Rogue? You know, herO's beaten him in the early game with a timing attack. He's beaten him in the late game with just really good macro play. I wouldn't mind seeing Rogue get super aggressive with something like Hydraling Bane.
That's what I was kind of thinking, is like, clearly if you're both just kind of playing macro games, it does seem like herO's just better. And, you know, in the past, I would have said Rogue was, you know, one of the best macro development players of all time, and he certainly was. I don't know if that's the case. Well, he probably still is now, but just not as good as herO. It's probably the best way I could say that. By the way, herO doesn't seem to be needing to do anything special here. He's playing, like, just really clean games. He's doing a good job harassing. He's doing a good job clearing. He's doing a good job macroing. There's no special gimmick or plot twist or, you know, anything involved in what he's doing in the game. He's just playing really, really, you know, clean PvZ.
And maybe the most unconventional thing that herO has done this entire series was just the hyper-greedy opening that he went for in game number 1, but that is the kind of coin flip that you expect to see in a best-of-5 series. If you try and check at some point how much greed you can get away with. Game 1 is a fine time to do it. As here in game number 3, with everything on the line, we're going to be going into Spire once again, and herO is getting ready to push up with 7 Stalkers, perhaps even more reinforcing as Bleak is nearly done. herO likely has his eyes set on trying to get some damage done at this 4th base. Although with the hatchery already complete and more Zerglings coming in, I'm not sure that herO can get a deny on this expansion. Let's see, though, what he's able to get done.
Okay, he does get a Ling to set off the trap there, so the surround's going to be much more potent. But he's so good at the spacing of this. That second Stasis Ward was put just almost too far away to where I think the Zerg kind of tricked himself into thinking now's my chance to get the surround on here and force the recall back home. Didn't happen.
Rogue now going for a counterattack with these Zerglings. I think there's enough static defense here for herO that he should be fine. Yeah, shield battery, photon cannon here at the 3rd base. Templar might be trying to get sniped here by those Lings, but just unable to find the surround. And even more Lings coming out here for Rogue. It's a lot of Zerglings on the map right now. This 5th base, it's a little bit questionable. Will get denied right now by herO. Lings still roaming in the center of the map. The Muta transition has begun.
He's just so strong with this kind of this roaming technique where you're just sort of bleeding the Zerg out over time. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. The Lings are going to come up now. One cannon up here to aid the block over here. And it's going to be the Ling Muta here. With Banelings, no doubt.
Charge about to finish here for herO might prompt him to try and move across the map and execute a timing attack, but the Mutas, they're already coming into the natural expansion here for herO. So herO has a decision to make. Do you commit to an attack or do you try and defend? As herO's going to be pulling everything back to try and soften the blow of these Mutas, but that's a lot of Mutas already in the natural expansion. Phoenix production has not even yet begun for herO as Rogue is finally getting in some very good damage.
Now, you only have this one moment with the Mutas to hurl this much abuse to the Protoss, because after this, they're going to be ready for the Muta tech. He's got Stalkers warped in everywhere. I don't think the Mutas can get back in unless they were to loop all the way around to the top right side of the map. Still, not bad. Banelings has started, Hydralisk Den started, so... Oh my god, the Templars!
Oh, the Templars all get sniped there by a Rogue.
So he forced out a lot of, forced out a lot of Archons here, but you need those Storms to fight the Hydra Bane later.
Yeah, and that's a bigger moment than I think it seems like, because herO, he's not going into the kind of transition you would expect to see for a Protoss player that wants to go toe-to-toe with Mutas. He's not going into Phoenix, he's not ending in a Fleet Beacon for range. herO, it seems like his game plan is to try and build up enough static defense with photon cannons and shield batteries at the main base, the natural, and the third base, that his home ground is going to be basically impenetrable to Rogue, and then herO can try and prompt effectively a base trade counterattack. I think that is the game plan here for herO, and so for Rogue to snipe every single high energy Templar is huge.
Okay. Now this is all going to be typified by the big attack from the Zerg here. The Zerg maxes out first with this, and the Zerg wants to hit and hit really hard. And the question is, how much can you whittle this down to over time? The mutas are going to come in for a counterattack, and by the way, herO's not blinking. He is going to go ahead, well, I mean, I guess he blinked like that, but I meant like metaphorically. He's going to just continue to come through here and push. There's a hatchery just a screenshot below this he could kill, actually.
The mutas are coming back to defend right now. The Stalker's on the other side of the map as herO's charging in. Banelings just finished morphing. Baneling's speed isn't done just yet, so the Banelings, they crawl on creep up to the rest of this army, able to usher herO away for now.
So many Banes here. Again, the speed's still not done. He's going to try to run back. I don't know that he can get up there. Again, the mutas are going to come through here once more. The cannons are positioned in such a way they can't really cover those workers.
Oh, blink forward by herO on top of all of the Hydralisks. Does he have enough, though? The ground army of Rogue, it is starting to wane. Blinkstalkers, they go forward once more. More Hydras and Lings reinforcing from the main base and the natural expansion. The mutas are coming back, too. With the splash damage of the Archons nearly wiped out, I think the mutas, they can start to trade more effectively. I'm not sure herO got done what he was hoping to get done with that push.
I'm not sure that he has enough. It's funny because they both had to back off from each other. Nobody was able to wipe the other one out. The mutas have done an insane amount of damage. Oh my god, he's going to catch the Templars again. And this is exactly what we were talking about here. I mean, you snipe the Templars, and then you don't have the Storms, and the Storms are really what soften up the army and allow you to smash it once the damage has been done.
Yeah, so herO now going to try and take a fourth base. I believe that herO realizes he just cannot end the game with a push anymore.
I think that Rogue can probably close this game out in the next couple of minutes if he plays his hand correctly.
Yeah, the position of herO is not enviable at all. I'm not sure how many Templar. Okay, 2 Templar in total on the field, 1 Archon, and about a dozen Stalkers. That is not the makings of a robust Protoss army. You can see even the army value. herO just being dwarfed right now by a Rogue, and herO desperately needs to get this fourth base up. So it's do or die. He has to defend this expansion or give Rogue the first map win of this set. And I think Rogue might have just enough to cancel this Nexus, especially with those Banelings rolling in.
Yeah, I think Rogue is going to win his first game here. This base is going to fall. Right now, Protoss is far too obsolete here. And the Stalkers really don't have anywhere to run to. The base next can be taken out as well. Big warpins over here, 10 probes killed off.
The static defense is really kind of slowing things down right now for Rogue, but herO, he's on his last legs economically. The main base, it's mostly mined out at this position. The natural expansion also mining out as herO blinks forward, trying to go for this round. He has 1 Templar for his Storm. Can't get in range of the Hydra, so instead just storms the Lings. I think these reinforcements are going to be more than enough for Rogue to take game number 3.
Yeah, that's a beautiful game here from Rogue. He's done it, and we got ourselves a series here. herO's going to have to tap out. GG! Nicely done.
Well played by Rogue, finally getting to play this Mutiling Baneling style that he wanted to execute in game number 1. It works for him in game 3, and I just keep thinking back to the High Templar snipe, because I think that herO's game plan of just building up the defense, the natural, the main base, the third base, the photon cannons and shield batteries, that works if you go for the base trade push with a bunch of Storms available against the army that Rogue's got. But the fact that he lost all of those high energy Templar for really nothing, I think only 1 Archon was made at the end of that. It just took all of the firing power out of herO's army. He was not able to recover. He eventually did go to for that push, but there just wasn't enough.
Man, I'm so happy that herO won that game. Sorry, Rogue won that game, excuse me. It was just incredible. Guys, we're going to go to a short break. When we come back, game number 4.
GSL Season 2.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. herO's got his first win. Can he do the reverse sweep? You know, we talked earlier about how I just did it again. I just swapped their names. Rogue got his first win. Let's try that again. Rogue got his first win. Can he do the reverse sweep? You know, we talked about the fact that he really knows how to mix it up, right? I love what he did in that game, going for the muta switch, and I think really being more abusive, taking out the probes, sniping the Templars most importantly, and then basically zoning herO out of being effective at all, and eventually just running him over. I mean, he just had so much that there was no way, not even for herO to keep a fourth base, he couldn't keep a third. I mean, you know, it was just too much power coming out of there.
Some really good army movement from Rogue, being able to snipe those Templar. Just took the wind out of herO's sails, because herO was going for kind of a response that we don't typically see at the pro level to Mutalist play, which is to hunker down with static defense and then push across the map and just invest everything in trying to end the game on those 3 bases. Had a Rogue not gone for that Templar snipe, had herO had those storms, we might have herO already in the grand finals, but instead Rogue with a second life. As we get ready to move on to set number 4, Celestial Enclave, going to be the most macro-focused map in the pool. Can a Rogue keep it going, or will herO close this out?
Okay, herO in the bottom left, and Rogue here in the top right.
Gosh, I've been playing so much of the PTR, it's almost shocking to see this many workers in
How
the
much of the
middle
game
line.
have we missed? Yeah.
Oh, look at this, by the way, herO.
I was thinking this was going to happen in one of these games, so I think he's going to do a proxy hatch.
Yeah, but look at herO's first pylon placement, too. This is a very unusual start on both sides.
Can you just fit a hatchery right up there in the blind spot? I think you can.
Would that be out of vision?
Yeah, I think this actually fits.
Oh, that would be crazy.
I've never, I mean, I guess when you look at it, you go, oh yeah. Wait.
Is he expecting it to be the natural? Maybe you can't fit a hatchery there? Okay, he's gonna build one over by the rocks.
Yeah, actually, as I said, like, put a hatchery there. I'm like, yeah, but then the creep would be there and you just die. I was like, I don't know. Sorry, guys.
I'm so confused by what is happening on both sides. Okay, so Rogue is going for the proxy hatch where he thinks the natural expansion of herO is.
Yeah.
herO is not expanded to the base of the front, which is what you do basically 99 times out of 100. It is very unconventional to take the back expansion here as Protoss, but that is what herO is going for.
This is so interesting. Ooh, he's got the collectible cards. Nice.
Oh, even I don't have those cards.
Those are going to be worth
tens of dollars.
Yes. More than Bitcoin, no doubt.
But look at this. Did herO actually scout the hatchery on the low ground? Drones are being pulled here by Rogue. He's going to be trying to build spine crawlers on the low ground. herO doesn't have a wall-in at the ramp even. What is the target going to be for these spines? It's 2 gateways and a cybernetics core basically behind the mineral line here for herO. It's almost like herO has been expecting this build from Rogue.
This is crazy. So it's a cheese, but it's misplaced. We don't know the potency of it yet. We don't know if herO even knows how to respond to it and what that response will be.
It almost feels like herO is blind countering this.
You think so?
Well, I mean, the double gateway, it's highly unusual. In any case, even if this isn't, if herO isn't expecting this approach from Rogue, he has all of the infrastructure up for what is effectively going to be a perfect response. And now with a probe coming down the low ground, he's going to see the spine crawlers. Will he cancel the adepts and make stalkers instead? No, decides to double down, still going for the adepts. A Stargate is being built, a shield battery being built to the main base. Rogue pulling even more drones.
The Lings are going to go on the battery. They can, I believe, snowball that down. If the Adept wasn't there to drive them back out.
Rogue needs to spread the creep onto the high ground. It is so essential for him.
He snipes one drone. Okay, he's got a creep tumor down here. The Adepts, can they come in there and snipe it? I think the zoning might be too good. Oh my God, the battery saves that just in the nick of time.
Gotta be so careful. Those spine crawlers do a lot of damage.
Yeah, the spine crawler is so punishing. The creep slowly ebbing its way up the ramp. The spines are going to come in here with the shove.
Will he body block? He's body blocking the spines. They can't actually burrow down. Buying a couple of seconds there. Forces Rogue to also trade out Lings to secure this position for the spine crawlers. A Void Ray is being built now by herO. Rogue already has a spore in the main base of herO, though.
Another spine's going to shimmy its way up. Drones are being hatched over at the hatchery. The Lings are going to run by and try to go for the probes over here. Another drone's going to come up now.
Oh, there's so many drones here on the front line. Another spore crawler being made.
This is insane. The Void Ray's out. It can leash onto the Queen.
It can, but with 2 spore crawlers here and 2 queens as well, I'm not sure that the Void Ray is going to be able to get too much done.
Ah!
We got to be so careful with this Void Ray. More shield batteries warping in.
The Nexus is going to go down.
It's okay. It's all about defending the main base here for herO.
He's hitting. The Void Ray's taking a lot of damage. The Lings are going to come down here. They're going to get a great surround onto the Adepts.
Oh, the shield batteries are out of energy. I'm not sure if there's an energy recharge available here for herO.
Oh my god, he's going to get the spine crawler up here.
2 more shield batteries finishing up. A second Void Ray is here. Battery overcharge, be giving a little bit more energy to this battery. But the Adepts, they're mostly cleaned up. It is now just these 2 Void Rays here for herO.
Okay, the Lings are going to come through. I think this
You're
is the breaking
kidding
point.
me.
Dude, Rogue just did it, I think. I think there's not quite enough. Eventually, the Nexus is going to fall here.
2 more drones
come up.
What are we watching? The Void Ray is getting to work right now on the Lings. Probes are beginning to fall. Rogue behind this still has only 17 drones mining back at home.
Transfuses go down onto the spine crawlers.
One of the spines does get taken out. These shield batteries providing a lot of staying power to the Void Rays. Warp gate is done. Stalkers are warping in. It might still be possible for herO to stabilize.
Yeah, hold up, hold up. Queens are going to start dropping. There is another battery out. There is another recharge available here. The Adept goes down instantaneously. The other Stalker is surrounded. It's going to drop.
Oh no, it's a recall accidentally here by herO. He's recalling the Void Rays. Oh no! Oh no! I do not think that was the intended action by herO.
I can't imagine that's what he wanted to do.
Oh man, it was so close, down to the wire. That recall just brought the Void Rays to the front line in range of the Spore Crawlers. There are no probes left here for herO.
Yeah, he's going to be able to, and it doesn't matter, GG. Rogue takes game 4. That was a fun one.
That was
crazy. For just a second, I thought herO might have it. You know, the Queen started to drop off pretty fast. It did seem like it was a mechanical input error.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I don't know why you would recall Void Rays there, right? I mean, recall's not even like, there's a lot of things you can try to do there to survive that. Recall's not one of them. Recall makes no sense.
I think he might have meant to activate battery overcharge and just hit the wrong hotkey, but oh man. I mean, there is so much to say about that game. It feels like herO had an idea that Rogue, perhaps the fact that Rogue hasn't gone for a proxy hatch in the first 3 games of this series, it's very likely he does it this game or in the next game. And Celestial Enclave, there are a lot of different places you could do it.
Yeah, that's one of the most abusive maps.
You can do it in the Pocket Expansion, you can do it in the Wide Natural, as Rogue did in that game. And so herO, it almost felt like was blind countering something like a proxy hatch. Just like, okay, Rogue, let's see if you do this. Let's see if you go for a proxy hatch. My gateways, they're going to be all the way in the back. They're going to be safe. I'm going to scout my natural expansion late. I'm going to go for the Pocket Expansion, the safer play. And despite that, Rogue was still able to push through with a win. And now both players are on match point. Rogue, if he wins game number 5, he is going to the grand finals, trying to confirm the reverse sweep. And herO just needs 1 map win to go at 1 more attempt at being a GSL finalist.
What a game, dude.
Oh, this is so cool. I cannot believe that Rogue won game number 4 with that defensive setup for herO.
Yeah, I mean, it looked so obvious after game 2 that herO was going to just walk out of this. No contest. And here we are. We're in game 5 now. It's been a crazy back and forth. We don't have a proxied hatchery. We're going to see the hatch in the most standard spot there is. Wow. You know, these games where herO, I think, plays a little bit less reactive, which sometimes is a little bit less like Zergs tend to play. You know, Zerg is kind of supposed to be the swarmy macro, kind of expanding your creep, taking more bases, getting the upgrades, going to late game race. But you can play that sharp in-your-face style. And it does feel like if herO is going to lose to Rogue, it's going to be because Rogue is really making the decisions here. He's kind of in the driver's seat of the game, you know, forcing herO to respond. And by the way, we've casted so many cheeses from Rogue, and like they're all different. Every single one of them is novel.
Rogue has a very unique approach to aggressive plays. It's one of the things that makes him such a good championship contender, even when he is not at his peak of play. He's so good at planning for a best-of-5 series or a best-of-7 series, and he just has so many unconventional ways of bringing a player down that you wouldn't see basically any other Zerg in the world do. As demonstrated in that game number 4. I mean, I've never seen a proxy hatchery play that actually looked the way that one did, with so many spore crawlers, with so many spine crawlers in the main base of Protoss. It was like a slow push with siege tanks or something, just out of this world. And so I agree with you. I think that Rogue, he's been looking the best in this series when he's putting herO on the back foot. If herO gets to play his macro game at home and then get aggressive in Rogue's face, herO's winning basically all of those games. And so I wonder if Rogue is making the same read that we are and is considering his options in terms of how to be aggressive here in game number 5.
Okay, Probe's just going to try to block for a second here. We're going to have the third hatch in the standard location. I suspect it'll be Oracle Stalker again from herO. I don't know what to expect here from Rogue. I do feel like, if each game is one where you get a little bit more information on your opponent, and by the time it's time for your final game, you know what kind of game you want to bring, I would imagine it's going to be an active one here. By the way, it's actually not Oracle Stalker. It's going to be Void Ray. Now, sometimes this telegraphs like a weird tech behind it. Sometimes you can make it look like it's going to be weird, and then you go back to doing a completely normal game. But the Void Ray is basically a slower, kind of like Overlord sweeping machine. It kind of darkens your side of the map. It creates a little bit of ambiguity. We've seen people go like right into Tempest off this, or carrier techs, or weird Stargate stuff. And there's a whole array of other, anything that's abnormal you can do from this. But again, I want us to keep an open mind, because sometimes you'll see somebody do this, and that's all to make the Zerg overreact and play a scared game when nothing's happening.
The moment that a Rogue saw the Overlord go down to the Void Ray at herO's natural expansion, he pulled back nearly every Overlord on the map. So most of these should be safe. There is one around maybe like the 2 or 3 o'clock location on the map right now that has not yet been scouted by herO. But all of the Overlords that herO saw just a couple of moments ago with the Scouting Adept, they're now completely safe, protected by these queens. So I'm not sure that herO will be able to get too much more damage done with this Void Ray, although he could try and go for a 1-drone snipe. Spore crawler timing. Instead, just going to think better of it.
Yeah, you
pull
might
that all the way to the
with
back.
one. Nice cancel save there.
And behind this, herO's going into a Twilight Council. He's adding in a Forge. It's once more going to be a charge lot with plus on ground grab weapons opening here for herO.
Yeah, and again, he's going to sweep through the bottom here. He's going to get that drone. Nicely done.
Trying for a second one now. Oh, he gets it.
Not bad. Taking out creep tumors. He's an absolute madman.
Void Ray thinks it's an Oracle.
Yeah. So it's going to be 4 gates, charge, Templar Archives. Got the Ro.4 coming along here.
Honestly, this Void Ray is getting a lot done. It might have only gotten 1 Overlord, but it's taken out 3 creep tumors. It's killed 2 drones. Well worth the investment here for herO. And now he's going to park it. Down at the bottom expansion, waiting to see when a Rogue decides to take his 5th base. Very nice start here for Protoss.
So we got to see what Zerg wants to do. I mean, Zerg, it always takes a little bit longer to see what kind of development we're going to have here from them. We've got the 4th base coming along.
I think Rogue might be getting aggressive. We have Overlord speed finishing at the same time as this Overlord Cocoon is going to pop. And the Queen's been slowly gathering energy. I think they're going to load up into this Overlord and try and go for a bust, maybe with some roaches and lings.
We're going to have the 4 Queen all in here. Now you got to make sure you hide this.
Oh, it's a fake out.
Wow. Okay, so he definitely made it. He's definitely showing him.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is on the back of a lot more drones than you would typically see. Generally, this would be a low drone count kind of move here, going for this kind of push. But instead, Rogue just showing the Overlord speed, showing the Overlord Cocoon, but behind having 64 workers in total. And it seems it's almost like going to be a Roach Max kind of play coming in here by Rogue.
Yeah. So he did force out cannons earlier than you would have wanted. But again, I mean, if you're going to spike up onto a Roach Max, I mean, I guess cannons aren't the best thing to fight this, right?
Yeah, I wonder where Rogue takes the game from here. Because now he's going for an Overlord drop in the main base with all these lings. And you prompted herO to build all the static defense at the third base, expecting some kind of all-in play.
Yeah.
So I almost wonder if the Roach Ravager play here is to try and stop herO when herO overextends for a fourth base.
Maybe you drop the main and try to hit the entrance to the natural too. Sometimes that's the soft spot. You know, there's really not a lot over here, right? It's actually a lot of key infrastructure.
Oh, or is he just going to wait for herO to get aggressive?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, this is a dangerous position here for herO. herO thinks that he's in the driver's seat trying to bring the fight to Zerg, but there's a lot of roaches right now. 32 roaches in total against a charge lot army. Storms are going to come in right now, getting some good damage. And oh my goodness, that stasis catches like 30 roaches.
That is insane. Meanwhile, the lings are dropped over here into the main. We've already have 10 drones killed off so far. So much of the army is stunned, and that's allowing these zealots to just tear through everything.
I have never seen a stasis catch this many roaches. The Zealots, which should have been stopped in their tracks by the Roach army of Rogue, instead just chewed through the third base, cleaned up the Queens in the natural expansion. 11 drones fall. There are more Zealots in the main base. And not only is this damage being done by herO, this is time being bought, because Rogue is going to want to be aggressive with these roaches now that he's cleaned up the army of herO. And herO has a lot more time to prepare.
This is insane, man. 20 workers have been killed. And now with the counterattack, I don't know how much damage this can do. He could even set up a couple more stasis hordes here to try to get ready to defend. Gonna try to just drive these back. I guess just focusing down the weaker roaches if he can get them. Ground weapons level 2 is done. Upgrades coming along quite nicely. Hydra Den started. It's about halfway done. As we do have the fourth base being taken up at 12 o'clock.
herO setting his eyes on trying to cancel this fourth base at 12 o'clock. And Rogue really needs to get this damage done, honestly. He's at 51 drones right now. He's been amassing a really large number of roaches, which have not pulled their weight at all because of that stasis ward earlier on. It was the perfect army to parry the attack that herO was going for, but the stasis just stopped everything in its tracks. So at least Rogue will be able to deny the fourth base, but herO's been able to recharge his army. And now these roaches, they're getting isolated on the top side. I think this is fair compensation for herO, who was able to at least shave off a good number of roaches at the sacrifice of losing that fourth. By the way, what are these Overlords doing at the top?
Synchronized swimming up there. Yeah, he is going to try to come in here and hit pretty hard. I don't know how ready Rogue is going to be for this.
Just roaches and raptors here to defend.
Oh my god.
Oh, this storm getting so much damage done in that mineral line. The roach is all bottling up.
Yeah, the storms are really good again. The Immortal's just in such a spot, it's not going to be hit. Oh my god, I mean, Rogue's army is just getting chewed up over here. Roach is going to hit from the side over here. The Immortal's a little bit exposed.
It's a nice surround on the Immortal, but the standing army here for herO is pretty good. Stalkers should be blinking back in just a moment. Archons finally morph in.
Oh my god, I think he's got enough. And this hatchery's very low. If this army can't stay and fight, this expansion's going to go down, and that will probably cost Rogue the game.
Rogue just doesn't have enough.
GG.
herO going to his second finals in a row. Going to be trying to go for one more championship in 2026.
Crazy, man. I mean, that was a great series. Kind of sad that Rogue lost after fighting back so hard. You know, it's wild. There were 2 wins herO had where it seemed like Rogue had the answer. like Game 1 where he did like the Mutatech switch that herO was totally not prepared for, or Game 5 when he came out with all Zealots against all Roaches. But the Stasis Ward's like, I think it froze like 70% of the army.
One of the biggest Stasis Wards I think I have ever seen.
Yeah.
It got so many Roaches. And the truth is that Rogue's army, it was designed to basically counter that push from herO. And if it was able to fight a fair fight, I think it would have. That would have been a terrific position for Rogue. Instead, the Stasis just stopping everything in its tracks. herO going to another GSL Finals.
I mean, well deserved. That was an amazing first series. I knew that was going to be sick. I didn't know it was going to be that good. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're in for some pretty epic games today. Already an excellent best of 5 to start things off. Maru versus crowdfunding waiting in the wings for the second semifinals. The winner of that will be facing herO at the grand finals of Season 2. Oh, that Stasis Ward was just... I still can't get over it. That was crazy.
It was insane. Normally you see, you know, a small chunk of the army get hit, and you go, all right, that's like enough to throw them off. That allowed the Zealots to go through and destroy things all the way into the main. It went to places I never imagined that push would be able to go to back there.
I mean, if the Stasis Ward doesn't pop, the Roaches just kite backwards. The Storm's not going to be able to get too much done.
Yeah.
And what are a bunch of charge lots going to do versus 30-plus Roaches? Not that much, I think. It seemed like Rogue had kind of the perfect read on what herO was going to try and go for. Just be like, you know what, let's fake an attack. herO was going to take the bait. He's going to go for it. Anyway, we'll talk more about that later. We're going to go to a short break. We come back to the second semifinal.